Guys, we're having such an amazing time here. We're surrounded by an amazing group of people who decided to come and take action and learn all about assisted living facilities.
Just waking up in the morning and to be well. Quite honest with you, I ain't really sleep well. You ever feel like your train of thought's been derailed? That's when you press on, lean in. This population just wait to see me fail. Yeah, right, you better off trying to freeze hell. Some of us do it for the females.
Talk to Pete and Ivan because they know what they're doing.
When you hear the song from that big lady, until the referee rings the bell, until both your eyes start to swell, until the
We're walking that same path that we want to go down. You may be 4 steps ahead of us, but that way you already see what's around the bend. So when we come to the question, you're like, oh, I've seen that. Let me help you with it. And having just that group, it's like having a safety net there, you know, catching it.
We have learned a lot of information about moving forward with ALFs and where we want to go, what we want to do, where we go.
You should never have your head down. 6'5".
The information was outstanding. I knew nothing about the different levels that you could have for the facilities as far as the numbers, how they work, how much it costs, licensing. I mean, we know about rehabbing and flipping and things of that nature, but as far as the ins and outs, how to get your license, we know nothing about that. Now we feel confident that we could jump into something like this, especially with somebody out here. We saw a property today that we're very interested in.
An ALF bus tour, an ALF van tour.
If you were to say to somebody who's thinking about coming to a training like this to learn about this, what would you say?
Do it.
Gene and Pete and Ivan are wonderful. They have more knowledge between the three of them, and they have more connections between the three of them than anybody I've ever met. And great enthusiasm. Even though you pick on
And
people.
very helpful.
Yeah, I do pick on people.
And not just money. They're really here to help.
Yes.
Well, thank you for sharing that. I hope this has been educational for you, the ability to see these things firsthand. I invite you to join us. Come to a presentation, whether it be a webinar, whether it be a live presentation. If this is something you're interested in, we'd love to teach it to you and maybe even partner with you. I want to thank you.
A lot of times the energy and motivation generally dies down when we go back and we get back to our normal routine. The best part is, I think it's a great feeling to know Pete and Evan are so friendly and within the reach. We need not hesitate to call them anytime because that's the kind of comfort we have.
So I hope that you listen to what everybody said. You see all the different stuff that we're bringing to you because it's important for us, for you guys to get the right message and for you to come along to this journey to success with us. I look forward to seeing you guys soon. Have a great day.
Excellent. I wanted to give you an opportunity to see that before we started the presentation. This webinar itself, we're going to be talking about going into the field and really learning how to do assisted living facilities as an investment in real estate, also as a business and a way to help other people. So we're going to go right into it. My name is Gene Guarino, and I'm going to be sharing this information with you. I am a certified financial planner in the U.S. as well as in Australia. I bought my first property at the age of 18 and my first commercial property at the age of 25. I've had 16 businesses over the last 35 years. I've been a musician. I've had a record label. I've done real estate investing, certified financial planner in the U.S. and Australia. I've trained hundreds of thousands of people. I've been a mentor to thousands. And right now I'm converting all of my energy into assisted living facilities. And I've done this all over the world. In addition to that, I've been married for 27 years, going to be 28 in about a month and a half. And I've got 4 wonderful kids, and I'm going to be a grandfather soon. So that's a little bit about me and who you're listening to. And as I said, I'm moving everything I've got into assisted living facilities as my real estate investment. This is a business I think is the place to be for the next 2 decades, and you'll see why. You know, when it comes to real estate, we understand it's about cash now, cash flow, cash later. But the reality is, can we have them all? And I think we can. In addition to that, when we talk about, when do we want this cash, everybody wants all 3. And I think within the assisted living facility realm, we can actually do that. Now, we can do residential, which is 1 to 4 family, or commercial, which is 5 units or above. Could be a strip mall, a golf course, an apartment building, whatever. Or we can do raw land, but that's a very long-term investment. But I like the idea of being able to get the best of all 3. So the best of all 3, combining them again in assisted living facilities. So what is an assisted living facility? It's a group home for seniors, providing 24-hour care and providing all of their basic needs, including cooking, cleaning, and general help. I mean, that's the sentence I came up with to help explain this to you. When I say assisted living or adult care homes, most people think of this, a large institution. And this right here is actually a nursing home. It put some barbed wire on it. It could be a prison. But that's not what we're talking about. That's your typical nursing home. On the flip side, you may have remembered a show here called The Golden Girls. 4 mature women living together, taking care of themselves. It's kind of in between those two. So in between the Golden Girls and the nursing home, what do we have? Well, we have assisted living homes that look just like this. It's a regular home, a single-family home in a neighborhood just like yours, and there's 5, 6, 8, 10 adults living there. And there's 2 or 3 caregivers who are taking care of their needs, cooking their food, and doing whatever it is that they need to have done. And they're paying thousands of dollars to live there. Now, this is what we're going to be talking about, and that's what I'm going to focus on here today, is these type of homes and the opportunity. I'm in Phoenix, Arizona, and I know in my area, and I'm guessing in some of yours, there's big homes that people are saying, I don't need that size home anymore. What am I going to do with this? I can't rent it out and make it cash flow. It could be converted into an assisted living facility. On the other hand, some of you may live someplace where somebody down the street or nearby in a neighborhood is distressed as a homeowner and they're motivated to sell, but nobody wants to buy. Maybe it's a pre-foreclosure. You could actually work out a deal and structure it with them where you lease the house from them long term with an option to buy. And then you're helping them, and then you can run your assisted living facility there. We're going to discuss all those things. So one of the first questions I always get from somebody is, well, I'm not a doctor or a nurse. Can I do this? And the answer is absolutely yes. As a matter of fact, I want you to know that you're not going to be the one who's there giving the care day to day, minute to minute. You're not going to be the facility manager. You're going to be the owner of the business. That's what I'm going to encourage you to do. So no, you don't need to be a doctor or a nurse. And your next question might be, well, who's going to pay for this? I mean, who pays for these seniors to live in the home? Well, the best way to do it is what's called private pay. Now, you can do Social Security. There are state programs, but private pay is where you're going to be able to, as a business, charge the most and make the most. So we'll talk about that. So now that we've discussed that, your next thought is probably, well, how much can I make? Well, I'm going to get to that. As a matter of fact, I'm going to go through a transaction that I did recently where it was a no money down deal, bought the real estate, bought the business, and it's cash flowing $6,000 a month net every single month. Now, that's just the start because it'll get better than that, but I just wanted to give you some of the numbers from the very beginning so you have an idea. So when I say do one deal and make, you probably were, when you came here, we said make $5,000 to $10,000 a month from one deal. Well, you can absolutely do that with an assisted living facility. And I'm going to go through some generic numbers now. Then I'm going to show you a real deal that I just did. So first of all, in the U.S. today, the average person who's living in an assisted living home, a care home, just like I've described, is $3,241. So when I say $3,000 per person per month, that's per bed, not for the house. It's just for one bed. We might have 10 beds in that home. When I say licensed for 10 beds in the home, 10 people are living there. They may be 2 to a room and they might have a single room to themselves. But when you do 3,000 times that 10 beds, that's $30,000 a month in gross income. So $30,000 a month in gross income, we need to take out some expenses from that. In the expenses that we take out, let's say $15,000. That's going to include the caregivers, the facility manager, all of your overhead. It won't include just one thing, and that is the house itself. The house itself, if you lease it, that's whatever the lease payment is. If you own the house right now, it's whatever your mortgage payment is plus taxes and insurance. Now, in that $15,000, I actually already put in some property taxes and insurance in there, but I'm giving you rough numbers. I want you to assume that the expenses for the house is going to be about half of that gross income. So let's assume for a second you got $3,000 per person, you got license for 10, you've got 30,000 gross income, 15,000 in expenses, and let's assume that you have a home that you're buying and you're going to have principal, interest, taxes, and insurance, PITI, of $5,000. When you go through that math, and I'm going to do it just one time for you, that comes down to $10,000 net income per month. Now, $10,000 net income per month means the money that goes in your pocket. That's a very good deal. That's $120,000 a year. And when I say $120,000 a year, many of you listening can't even imagine that. But some of us listening are saying, I can't even get by on that. So if you need more than that, do too. If you can make it on less than that, partner with somebody. Now, I'm going to go through the numbers so you can see exactly how it works, but I do think with assisted living facilities, we really do have the best of all worlds. You have the residential, everybody needs shelter. Commercial, triple net lease. The business itself is taking care of the taxes, insurance, and maintenance. That's what triple net means. And you own the land. The home itself is being used as an assisted living facility. It could be a single family home, could be almost anything later on. So we get the idea. We are getting the best of all worlds, but timing is the key. And when I say timing is the key, I want to just show you this article and give you a little bit of an idea. This right here was published in January of 2011, and the title says, Ready or Not, First Baby Boomers Turn 65 this year. Now, when I say turn 65 this year, how many are turning 65? Well, according to the U.S. Census Bureau, there's currently 77 million boomers in the U.S. That's people born between 1946 and 1964, and that means that 10,000 people a day will be turning 65 for the next 19 years. Now, this was 2 years ago, so you have to say 17 years. Doesn't mean they shut off at that point. It might go down to 9,000, then 8,000, but you get the point. 10,000 people a day will be turning 65 every day for the next 17 years. Every one of them is a potential client for us in an assisted living facility. As a matter of fact, those of you with parents like myself who are of age, my mom is 87 years old, and thank goodness she can still live on her own in a house nearby the kids, and we can come and visit and so on. But what if I wanted to bring her into a home, not her own home, somebody else is taking care of her? Where would I bring her? She's not ready for a nursing home, the big institution with medical facilities inside. She can't do the Golden Girls anymore. She's living now. She needs some help, somebody to take care of her. Where would I bring her? When you think about that, now you'll understand what assisted living facilities or residential care homes are all about. So now that we have a little bit of an idea of the opportunity itself, we know that lots of people are turning 65, which means maybe by the time they're 70. My youngest client is 57. So he had a stroke. He's in a wheelchair, takes care of himself pretty much, but he's 57. My oldest client is 90. So these residents, I call them clients or residents who live in the home, will vary in age. But obviously they're not kids. That's a different type of business. These are adults that are living there. Their needs are being taken care of. This income opportunity is for a lifetime. In addition to that, and I've been investing in real estate for decades, you have the ability to do good and do well. So I can do good things for other people, and I can make a lot of money doing it. The older I get, the more important that becomes for me. Now, there are 5 keys to success in assisted living facilities. So if you are taking notes, now's a good time to begin. Location. First of all, state-wise, if people retire from the Northeast, where do they go? They either stay in their home, or if they're going to go someplace, they're typically going to go south. So the 3 states that are typical for assisted living facilities or people retiring in are states like Arizona, Texas, Florida. But these are all over the country, even in your own neighborhood. You wouldn't know it because there's typically not a sign sitting out in front. So location is important. The next is staff. And by the way, when I said location, it's not just the state itself, but it's the city in the state and the area of the city. That's all a part of what we train people to do, is to pick the best locations. This past week, my wife and I were out looking at a home that we were thinking of purchasing. It's a fine home. It's just in the wrong city. It's licensed for 10, but there's only 2 residents there. And it's a beautiful home. It's just they put it in the wrong area. So they should have done it in a different location, but that's not the best place for it. So you really do need to know what you're doing, and location is a key. So staffing, how do I find the caregivers? How do I find the facility manager? How do I train them, and how do I pay them? That's obviously something that you need to learn how to do. The caregivers themselves go through a training, and they have a certificate. It's not a license in the state, but a certificate. It allows them to do care in the senior homes itself and receive compensation for that. In addition, you're going to have what's called facility managers. In other states, they call it different things, like an administrator is what they call it in Florida. But in Arizona, we call them facility managers. They are licensed by the state. They typically have a higher education level. They have a higher qualification to become a facility manager. And we need to hire them to run the home on a day-to-day basis. Again, I'm going to encourage you not to be the caregiver, not to be the facility manager, but be the business owner that oversees all of that. So the next key point is clients. How do I find the residents, the people that are living there? You need to know how to market and how to get those clients in. And once you've got it up and running, then it just becomes a referral source, and you'll actually have a waiting list. Good homes have a waiting list of people who are waiting to get in. Right now I'm licensed for 10 and I have 10 people there. I don't have a room for any more, but I have people that would love to move into my home. So I'm going to show you how to do that. In addition to that, when we talk about private pay, and we talked about who pays for it, the ability to collect the insurance, whether it be Social Security or state insurance, you want to get qualified to be able to collect the insurance, but really the money's going to be in the private pay, where the kids, they may be 50 and 60, are the ones that are actually paying the bill for mom and dad to be there. And you need to have a system, the forms, the documents, what to do, how to do it, ABC, and then we get to D. It saves you time, effort, and money. If you learn from somebody who's done it before successfully, and it's just like anything in life, you can cut out a lot of time, a lot of effort, and save yourself a lot of money. And that's what we do when we do these 3-day trainings. We bring people into Arizona. We show you exactly how it's done. We bring into working homes and show you how it's done and why it's done. You'll meet the residents. You'll see how it works, because I can talk about it on a webinar and I can show you pictures, but until you actually set foot in there and have somebody explain it to you, it really isn't real. So I want to make it real for you. So part of the training is to go out in the field. We see homes that are running now, homes that are available to buy, homes that you could convert into assisted living facilities. So you can take that information either back to your state or your city and do it yourself, or maybe even partner with us to do it. So that's part of what we'll talk about. Now, the homes themselves come in all different levels. Here's a high-end home right here. Now, I'm going to give you 5 levels. High-end homes like this one here, that's somebody who's paying $6,000, $8,000, $10,000, $12,000 per month to live in a home like that. By the way, that's Rod Stewart's home. So it's not actually an assisted living facility, although he is of an age where he could. And in addition to that, I'm sure he does have maids and help who take care of him. On the low end are things like, other homes. When I say a low end, I'll say something like this here. Now, this here is not actually an assisted living facility. It's kind of a joke. It's a 3-level trailer park, right? We got No, that's low end. There are homes even available in your own neighborhood that are in the worst end of town that have very cramped quarters, and they're just the minimal that the state requires. I don't want to deal with that. So the level 1 is out. Level 5, the prices there may not work for you, but the sweet spot is really in the middle, levels 3 and 4. And that's what we're going to focus on when we go out into the field. I'm going to show you exactly what to look for, the areas of the neighborhoods, what cities, what areas, what houses themselves, what you need to have, and how it all works. So a big question that people have at this point is, well, how do I finance this? Well, the key is to control the real estate. The real estate itself, you can buy it and own it, or you can lease it. Some of you have a home now, as I said, that may be appropriate for converting into an assisted living facility. Some of you could lease a home from somebody else. Imagine going to somebody who has a beautiful home that they can't sell and say, I'd like to lease it for the next 10 years and have an option to buy. You just took their problem off their hands, and you don't even need to go out and get the financing. But if you do want to buy, obviously there's ways to do it. Banks are starting to lend money again. SBA loans, Small Business Administration loans of 4 to 6% amortized for 25 years are available. In addition, there's private lenders. There's lots of people out there today with money, and all they're earning is 0.25% in a bank account or 1 or 2% in a CD. If they could earn 4, 5, 6% lending the money as a private lender secured by real estate, there's lots of people out there who would love to get a rate of return of 4 to 8% in this current market. In addition to that, you can do this yourself by leveraging your own assets. When I say your own assets, a lot of you have money in retirement accounts, IRAs, 401ks, and you're not even sure how to access them to invest in real estate, let alone the assisted living facilities. So that's a key part that you need to know. You can get a business line of credit. A lot of people don't know that, but you can get unsecured lines of credit for even brand new businesses. If you want to learn more about that, go to that website, fundmetv.com, www.fundmetv.com. They'll explain it all to you there. Just put in your name and they'll explain it to you. It can be done. Now, when we talk about the assisted living facilities and financing it, some of you are saying, well, Gene, you can talk about it all day long, but I don't have good credit and I don't have any money at all. You know what? There's even plans for you. There's ways for you to do it. The last one that I just purchased, May of 2013, no money down. I actually borrowed more than what the home and the business cost and put money in my pocket at the closing. So I'll show you how to do that too. So the funding options, when we talk about purchasing with your own funds, if you've got your own money, IRA, assets, maybe you got home equity lines of credit, maybe you own investment properties, you can use that cash. I'd suggest you at least do it with some financing, even a normal bank channel, SBA loan, 25% down, finance the balance. You could lease the property long term. That might be as little as first month's and last month's rent and a security deposit. That's it. Private financing. So again, individuals who are willing to lend money, or even your own IRA. You could even borrow it from their IRA. Once you know the knowledge, you can share it with others and let them benefit too. Or you can joint venture with others to access the cash, the credit, or whatever it is that you don't have that you need. That's what a joint venture is all about. So there it is. And I want to just kind of go through the numbers with you. Let's assume $500,000 is the purchase price for a business and the real estate itself. So you're going to buy the business, or you're either going to buy the real estate and create the business, but your total investment is $500,000. If you buy it with your own money, so you finance it yourself, there is no mortgage payment. So when you think about the numbers that I gave you before, where I said you're making $10,000 a month, net $30,000 minus 15 in expenses minus 5,000 for the PITI, well, we don't have to pay out the PITI, so that 5,000 goes in your pocket. Remember, I told you that I did include taxes and insurance inside the 15,000 already. So I tried to make the numbers very conservative. So we can add the 5,000 back. So that means you're making 15,000 a month. Times 12 is $180,000 a year. Now I want you to just help do the math with me here. If you invest $500,000 and you're making $180,000 a year, what's your rate of return? Your return on investment. It's 36%. If you made 36% each year on the money you own and have sitting in an account, sitting in the stock market, sitting in an IRA or muni bonds in Detroit, right? Whatever it may be, my guess is it's not nearly 36%. Now that's good, but it's only going to get better. But I will say that some of you are saying that's perfect. That's exactly what I need. If I could make $12,000 or $15,000 a month, I could retire right now. And some of you actually have the $500,000 in your retirement account. You can actually do this just like I've described, just as simple as it is, but you just need the knowledge, and that's what we provide in that 3-day training. So let's talk about doing it with a down payment, because if you've got $500,000, I'm going to suggest you put down 25% of that. Let's say $125,000, finance the rest. That financing of the rest would be $375,000. SBA loans, 6%, that's on the high end, 25 years. Let's assume that it's $3,000 for the PITI. Again, I'm trying to be conservative. You know the math as well as I. It's less than that. But that means we're not paying $5,000, we're only paying $3,000. So the $10,000 plus the $2,000 means we're making $12,000 a month. Times 12 months is $144,000 a year. Now that's not as much as $180,000, but you only put up $125,000. So let's think about that. If you only put up $125,000 and you end up making $144,000, what's your rate of return on your investment? It's not 36%, it's over 100%. It's 115% ROI. I want you to pause for a minute. Some of you right now, I'm a certified financial planner and I know this. You've been told you can't retire yet. You don't have enough money. No, the reality is you don't have the right knowledge, or you're not taking the right action. Because if you had $125,000 in your retirement account, IRA, 401k, whatever it may be, and you do what you see on the screen right now, you could be making 12 grand a month starting 30 days from now, 90 days from now, in a short period of time from now. Now, if you made 12 grand a month, my guess is most of you wouldn't have to report to work tomorrow. You could stay there as long as you want, but you'd have the choice. You'd be what Pete and I love to call job optional. That's a good place to be. So that's good. Let's get it even better. How about if you just partner with somebody else? They've got the money, they've got the credit, but they don't have the knowledge, the time. They're not willing to put in the work and take the effort, but you are. You're willing to put in all of those things. All they're going to do is write a check. Well, they go ahead and write the check, and we're going to pay them. Now, I'm not suggesting you give them 10% because, frankly, that's a high rate of return in the current market. You don't need to. You could pay them 6%, 7%, 8%. But even if you did pay them 10%, 10% simple interest on the $500,000 is $50,000 a year. Plus taxes and insurance, make it $5,000 per month. So think about this for a second. The numbers that I gave you before, the $30,000 minus $15,000 in expenses minus the $5,000 means you are netting $10,000 a month on a property that you didn't put up the money for. A partner put up the money, the credit. They're getting a nice rate of return, 10%, and you're making $10,000 a month for 12 months. That's $120,000 a year. So question, if the partner puts up the money and you're making $10,000 a month, you have no money in it, what's your rate of return? My favorite one. My favorite one is infinite, an infinite rate of return. Now, guys, you can do this if you've got the knowledge and you understand how it works. So how fast can I do this might be your next question. Well, if you do it slowly, that means buy the land, let's design the building, let's build it from scratch, 12 to 24 months. Not what I would suggest. Second option is buy an existing care home, or buy an existing home rather, and then turn it into, remodel it and get it licensed into a care home. That would be 6 to 12 months. Better, we cut our time in half, but let me cut that in half too. The best way is to buy an existing or lease an existing care home. There's plenty of them out there. They're just not advertised. They're not on the MLS. They're not on LoopNet. They're not out there in the general public because think about the business. The business has 5 or 10 adults living there. If all of a sudden those adults know that the owner's selling the house, they might want to move to another house. They don't want change. So these owners are sitting there, they're motivated to sell, but they're not telling anybody. So you need to understand how to find them and how to get them. And that's when you get the best deals of all. Notice I made it gold right there. So in 3 to 6 months, this is the best way to go. Now, the next step would be just buy the home, the real estate itself, because I know some of you are saying, well, I'm willing to invest in the real estate. That's a good investment, but I don't want to run the business. I don't want to be a part of the business. Maybe you're even saying something like, I don't want the liability of the business, right? By the way, there's insurance for everything. Everything is licensed. Everything is insured. So the liability is really a non-issue. You have more problems with somebody going across your front lawn because you're not insured properly. If you have an assisted living facility, you will be licensed and insured properly. You have to be. So here's the deal. Some of you may be saying, well, Gene, I'd just like to buy the real estate and lease it to you. Great. I'd like to lease it from you. Long term, 10 years with 10-year renewals. Just give me an option to buy it. You bought it for $500,000. I want the option to buy it for $750,000. Whatever it may be, we'll come up with a deal. But that way, you buy the house, I'll lease it from you, and I'll run the business in it. You can be cash flowing in 1 to 2 months' time. Now, by the way, I'm saying you can do this too with investors. There's one other way. Some of you are saying, I just like the idea of lending the money, making that 4 to 8%. You do that, you can be making money in 30 days or less. 30 days or less from you stroking a check, you're getting your first check back. Simple as that. So you decide how you want to participate, or if you decide you don't want to participate, you can just sit back, pass it up, and let somebody else make all the money. Totally up to you. It's your choice. Now, obviously, I put that in gold, but it's not gold. That should be in red. Don't do that. Somebody's going to be living in these homes, 10,000 people turning 65 every single day, paying on average $3,241 a month. Guys, it may as well be you. Doesn't have to be. It can be me. In Maricopa County, where I am in Phoenix, Arizona, there's 1,685 homes right now. There's screaming for more in the right areas. So there's a huge opportunity here, but knowledge is the key, and knowing what to do and how it's done is really the most important part. So you're saying, well, how can I learn this? Well, I say come and see for yourself and learn it firsthand. The best way to learn, I think, is by watching somebody do it and then having them hold their hand and walk you through it. That's the way I learned the best, not from a book, not from taking a test, not from any of those things. It's from getting out and seeing it live. So come out and see it live. We have a field training coming up in Arizona, August 1, 2, 3. And if you're saying Arizona, August, hey, don't worry about it. We're going to be in a classroom. Then we're going to be out in the field in an air-conditioned vehicle. We'll go into the homes. We'll be in air conditioning and swimming pools and all kinds of things. By the way, that is a Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Thursday goes from about noon to 6, noon to 5. So this way you've got enough time to get there in the morning in case you're traveling in. We have kind of that half day on Thursday. And then on Friday, we're all day in the classroom. We're going to learn everything. We've got guests coming in to share with you specific information. That tends to be a real highlight when other experts come in and share more information with you. And then on Saturday, oh, by the way, Friday night, we always do something fun. So whether it's go to a baseball game or whatever it may be, we'll go out and do something fun. And then on Saturday, we get in the vehicle and we go out to see properties. I'm going to show you properties that I own, properties that are for sale, properties that can be converted. That's the best way to learn how this is done, by getting out in the field and doing it. We have a very limited group size. We limit it to 10, and yes, you can bring a guest, whether it's a spouse or business partner, because we want you to have that support, but also we want to keep the group small, and we limit it to basically 10. And we do that because we want to have hands-on. We want to have the ability to communicate with you, answer all of your questions. So this isn't a group of hundreds. This isn't a bus tour in LA with 4 buses full of 50 people each, where the guru shows up for an hour. This is the real deal. We'll be out in the field doing it together. And I want to show you how it's done. So this right here is the home that I bought here in May. It was called Adagio House, and now we call it Adagio Gardens. So I renamed it, and we're going to put a garden in the back. And I'm going to go through the numbers first, then I'm going to show you the house after. Those of you who know real estate know this is what's called a HUD-1. This is the closing statement, so you can see the numbers. The contract on the real estate was $450,000. I borrowed $516,000. So I borrowed more than the real estate cost. In addition to that, at the closing, I took cash home. Now, $66,000 cash to borrow. I didn't get all of that, and I'll explain that in a moment. But I first want you to see this is the actual closing statement. The real estate for the property Adagio House, now called Adagio Gardens, was $450,000 for the real estate. I financed 100% plus, so more money than it cost, $450,000, and I got $516,000. In addition to that, that's going to give me cash at the closing. So I just want you to kind of walk through that. Here's the house. And by the way, all those palms have now been removed because that was my first job, is get rid of these palms. They look great when they were little seedlings like that one you can see in the front, but they grow so fast in Arizona, we just had to get rid of them. So we're redoing some of the things. There's a fountain in the front, but we're going to redo the backyard. And this is really my project. There's a beautiful pool there that frankly nobody uses, but we're going to have a 4th of July picnic out there for the families coming up in about a week or so. There's a gazebo in the backyard, but I'm going to put a garden around in that whole backyard where it's all grass. It'll just be a large garden area with a walk through it. So people have a beautiful place to sit in the shade, walk around, get their exercise, maybe help with the plants, and it'll just be a wonderful addition to the home. And I'm going to put some more fountains out in the back. So what do the numbers look like? Well, the current financials look like this. $24,000 gross income is the current. When I bought it, that was the current income. It's now about $26,000. But so I'm going to show you the current financials. Then I'll show you the projected financials. So when I bought this property, $24,000 gross income, $14,000 in expenses. So I said roughly half, but they're charging less than they should at this home. So it's $14,000 in expenses. That leaves $10,000 for the net operating income. So that's the balance that's left over that can pay for debt service, right? The debt service always comes after. In case you didn't know that, we'll make sure you do. It's important that you know how to run the numbers. So if you're looking for investors, they know that you know what you're doing. I'll make sure that you know how to present yourself properly. It's a real key, guys. So at this point, if you have debt service, if you are going to be paying a loan, you've got to subtract that. So the debt service on the $516,000 is $4,000. So 10 minus 4, that's going to get us to our net of $6,000 per month. So $6,000 per month is $72,000 a year. So when I bought the property with none of my own money, with financing for more than what it was costing me, it's netting me at the end of the day $6,000 per month. That's pretty good. Now $72,000 a year is very nice, but it's not like I'm working 40 hours a week. As a matter of fact, I am going to go to the house this morning because one of our residents is having a birthday. So I will be going there to deliver a cake and some flowers and a balloon and just wish her a very happy birthday and thank her for being there. So those are the kind of things that I do as the owner. I'm not there on a daily basis taking care of all the details. I'm the owner of the business. So now the projected income. Keep in mind that I told you the average is $3,241 per. So I know that I can get the gross income up to at least $30,000. That would be $3,000 per. And $30,000 to $35,000 is really what it should be. But I'm just going to show you in 6 to 12 months, we put the garden in, we make a few adjustments to the house itself. What kind of income can we make? Well, number one, that $30,000 gross income, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to subtract the same expenses of $14,000 because the expenses aren't going to change. But now we've got $6,000 more in our net operating income. So $16,000 is what we have available for debt service. Debt service didn't change, so the debt service of $4,000 comes out, which leaves us with not $6,000 a month, but now leaves us with $12,000 per month. 12,000 times 12 months is $144,000 of income from a single deal. So somewhere between 72 and 144. Most people would be happy with the 72. I'll work till it's 144,000 from a single home. How many times would you like to do that? By the way, if you've got kids, and I've got 4, why don't you do at least 4? So this way you've got plenty of money for yourself. Give it away, travel. We had a beautiful dinner with some friends last night. We surprised them. It was the husband and wife had this same birthday on the same exact date. So we surprised them, got them to the restaurant, and it was just so nice to be able to walk over to the waiter off to the side, pay for everything. So when it came to the end of the meal, people are like, well, where's the check? And it's all taken care of. Isn't it great to be able to be that person as opposed to the one who's saying, well, I can't order that because it's too expensive. So if you've got 4 kids, I say get 4 homes, because not only will you have plenty of money, and by the way, if it's too much for you, give it away. Help other people. Do good and do well. But then you can pass 1 home on to each one of the kids. That would survive. That would give them the income that they need to survive. When I say survive, they can add it to whatever they're doing. They may end up running the home, but they could sell it, they could give it, they could do whatever. But can you imagine if you could provide for your own retirement now and just have all the money you could possibly imagine and be able to bless your kids with full-time income and they don't even have to work the business? You decide what you want to do in life, but I think that's a beautiful thing. All right, here's the other side of the numbers. Remember I said 66,000 cash to closing, but I had to buy the business. I bought the real estate and the business. The real estate was $450,000 and the business I bought for $50,000. By the way, when I negotiated the price, it was just $500,000. $500,000 for the real estate and the business. I'm the one who determined $450,000 for the real estate and $50,000 for the business. But one of the reasons why is because I knew that there would be some credit. So I had security deposits that some of the residents have money that they've got on a security deposit, so I get a credit for that. In addition, they pay their monthly amount on different dates, so there was a credit of $6,710. So when you add up the credit, that means there was $24,760 due to me, the buyer, at the closing. So it was the $50,000, right? But we had credit of that $24,760, which means due to the seller for the business was the $25,240. So let's go back to the numbers here. Here's the deal. $450,000 for the real estate, got $516,000 in funding. That was $66,000 cash to the buyer at the closing. You saw the HUD-1. So the purchase of the business was, we had $66,000 available. It was $50,000 for the business, which leaves us with $16,000. And now we get a credit of, do you remember? A credit of $24,760, which means at the end of the day, when the property was closed and the business was now owned by me, I also received a check, or wired into my account, they don't do checks anymore, $40,760 net to the buyer. So not only did I buy it with no money down, I got $40,760 net to me at the closing, in addition to the $6,000 a month. And then the future will get it up to the $12,000 a month. If you like those numbers and if this makes sense, think about it. 100% financing, $40,000 cash at the closing, $6,000 to $12,000 a month, plus any and all future appreciation. Once this is at $12,000 a month, I should be able to sell that property for $700,000 or $800,000 if I wanted to. But why in the world would I? Now that's really what I call cash now, cash flow, and cash later. And that's what this is all about, and that's what makes assisted living facilities very unique. Now again, I'm not operating the business from I'm in the home, I'm the caregiver. I'm not. I'm not the facility manager. I'm not. I'm the business owner. I take care of the bigger things. So what's the value in learning this? And I know that some of you listening to me right now, you've been to trainings and they've taught you things, but you didn't take action. You didn't do it. And I also know that the value of getting $40,000 cash now and $72,000 to $144,000 per year for the rest of your life is incredibly valuable. I mean, there's people that pay $100,000 or $200,000 for a college education and they can't even get a job. And yet in 3 days, I can show them how to have a very nice income and put cash in their pocket with none of their own money. So I don't know, 4, 5, 6 years in school or 3 days learning how in the real world. You decide, but I know of people that have paid lots and lots of money for training to do things. $10,000, $25,000, $35,000. The reality is there's people that have paid hundreds of thousands of dollars to learn how to do things like this with the trainings, and I've met people out there. They've spent $35,000, $65,000, $85,000, $100,000 at training programs that are held all over the country. I won't name the names, but you know who I'm talking about. But maybe they've not even done a deal yet. Here's the thing. I didn't want to do anything that was going to cost somebody $25,000 or $35,000. I have people asking me all the time, Gene, will you show me how to do this? Will you be my mentor? And I say, well, if I do that, it's going to cost you at least $25,000. But when Pete from Coast to Coast and Ivan approached me, and I've known Pete for years, and I love him to death, as all of you do, I'm sure, I said, I don't want to do a big ticket item. I want this to be very reasonable. And I said, we can do this for less than $10,000. He said, well, what can you do it for? And I said, well, why don't we do it something very reasonable that everyone can participate in, $59.95. That would be for two people, yourself, and you bring your business partner, your spouse, a family member. And then he said, well, can we do it even better than that? And I said, Pete, for you, and I love you, and I know where your heart's at, you want to help other people. I said, why don't we do this, not for the $59.95, but let's do it for $2,000 less. Let's give them a discount, and we'll make it $39.97. He said, that'd be awesome. And then I said, you know what? We're doing this webinar for this training, and this webinar itself, if you want to, we can make it real easy for them. If they do one payment, just pay in full, we'll give them an additional $500 discount. That additional $500 discount means that it's only $3,497. If they need payment plans, we'll keep it at the $39.97, and they can do half now and half in 30 days. He said, Gene, if you can do that, that would be awesome. And I said, Pete, for you, done. I will do it. But I said, we have to keep it very limited. And I said, the number is 10. Now, I know at this point, and this is right now, it's Saturday morning, it's the 22nd of June. We've already got 3 of the 10 spots taken. So if you're interested in this, I'm going to suggest that you do it immediately. I'm going to give you a website in a little bit, and you're going to go there and you're going to sign up. And it's either for the cash discount, full pay, or it's going to be the pay half now and half in 30 days, whatever you need to do. But if you're interested in this, we want to make sure that you do have a spot in that training coming up. And don't make any excuses. Oh, I've got this, I've got that. You know what? There's always things that come up. Opportunity is rarely convenient. You've got to do what you've got to do. And if this makes sense, if this sounds better than what you're doing now, buying and holding, flipping. The problem with flipping, by the way, is you do a transaction and you're done. You got to go do it again. Why not do one deal that makes you $5,000 to $10,000 a month for the rest of your life? Then you can do as many of those as you want, but you get the point. The flipping is fun, but it's just temporary. It's 10 grand here, 30 grand there, 50 grand there, and that's it. You can do the lump sums, but that's too much work. I've been doing this for too many years. So what we're going to learn at the training, we're going to go through the best opportunities in assisted living facilities, where to do it, how to find the best staff to make your life easy. Really, that's what it's all about. I'm going to show you how to do it to make your life easy. Then I'm going to show you how to fill your home with high-paying clients, not just Social Security, not just the state Medicare program, but the best clients in the best area and where to do it. I'm going to also show you how to attract investors and partners, because some of you will need to joint venture or want to joint venture, and we'll do that. And as a matter of fact, we're also going to show you that if you'd like to do investing with us, we're going to show you how we potentially can do that too. I don't want to guarantee that to you because I don't just partner with anybody, but if you have the right things then I have the right things and it's a good combination, we may put something together. In addition to that, we'll show you how to do it whether you have your own money or not. Because if you have your own money, that's great, but eventually you'll run out. So I want you to learn how to do it with or without your own money. So that's what we're going to learn how to do. And then the bottom line is I'm going to show you how to get your first assisted living facility in 3 to 6 months from today. I mean, that's really the goal. 3 to 6 months from today, your problems are solved. Can you imagine if the goal you had for the next 6 months, right, was just simply that, to make sure that you don't have to worry about money ever again? You've got all of your money issues taken care of just with doing one deal in the next 3 to 6 months. Done. You've got your $5,000 to $10,000 a month coming in, and you are set. I'm guessing that would make a lot of you feel really good, and it should. Now, again, it's a very limited class size. It's a 3-day training. We're going to start Thursday at noon, go from noon to 5. Friday is 9 to 5, and then Saturday we're in the field from 9 to 5. We're going to have a fun activity on the Friday night. We'll go out and see a ball game or a comedy show or something. We always have a good time. It's a limited group size. The website to go to sign up is c2cigroup.com. So C, the number 2, C, the letter I, and then group.com. And, you saw at the beginning, these people that came out to our last training here, you see Ivan there, and Pete will be there, and I'll be there. And these people learned a lot, and it's just a whole different world when you're out in the field and we're able to point things out to you. If you haven't seen this video, go check it out. But C2CIgroup.com, you saw it at the beginning. If you'd like to see it again, it's there. But go to that website and sign up. Again, you can bring somebody with you to that, your partner, business partner, your spouse, a family member. Limited size, 3 days. August 1, 2, 3, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. We're going to be doing this, holding it at the hotel right near the Phoenix airport. The hotel itself, there's a shuttle straight from the airport, bring you over. You'll be there in 5 minutes. So if your flight arrives at noon, perfect. We'll get you there and you'll be right there on time. Don't worry about it. The hotel is a beautiful hotel. They've got breakfast included. The rate on the hotel will be under $100, probably $89. We come up with a group rate. but it's just real simple stuff. So I appreciate you being here, and I appreciate you listening to this information. And again, I want to encourage you to come, learn something new, bring it back to your state and do it. Do good and do well, and have the ability to not just make a bunch of money, but meet some new friends and do it in such a way that you can really enjoy what you're doing in life. And that's what this is all about, is helping others as we're helping ourselves. So do write down that website, c2cigroup.com. And by the way, I'm going to give you my email address in case you have a question you want to ask me before you do sign up. My email address is yogene777 at cox.net, cox.net. I'll say it again, yogene777 at cox.net. That's my personal email that you can send me an email if you have a question that you want to get answered before that you do register for that training itself. And I wanted to give you that opportunity. There it is at the bottom of the screen, because I know that some of you may have that. So yes, you can bring a spouse or a business partner or a family member. The hotel, if you'd like to stay at a hotel, is going to be just right near the airport in Phoenix. The airport is PHX. That is the Phoenix International Airport. There's cheap flights in on Southwest and on America West, or US Airways they call it now. And the hotel is going to be just a 5-minute shuttle ride, free shuttle from the airport. We're going to have a fun time. You don't need to get a rental car. The food itself, there's restaurants right nearby the hotel and in the hotel, so that's all good. Beautiful pool, lots of things to see and do if you'd like to stay longer or come earlier. I'm going to be with you during that training itself. We're going to bring in guests. Pete and Ivan will be there, and we're just going to have a fun time. We're going to learn a lot. And for those of you who are serious about changing your life and really making something happen, this is a phenomenal opportunity. So again, I appreciate you listening. I hope you've written down the address, because it's going to go away in about 10 seconds. c2cigroup.com. And my email is yogene777 at gmail.com. Again, I want to thank you. Appreciate it. Have a great day.